This is a magazine review of Women's Realm. This is 5 pennies, 5 old pennies, and Mason Cheap. December the 28th, 1963. Every Tuesday it came out. A very happy Christmas to you all. So I'm just going to run through it. There's the back. It's got OXO, good old OXO there. Now, as always with these things, I've always got rusty staples. I'm not a real big fan of rusty staples, but obviously just how they were stored. It's a pity that, but people never stored them particularly brilliantly, these old magazines, and which is a pity because I think they're great little magazines. So hopefully the magazines we've got now in 60 years' time will be stored slightly better than these. But right, so Women's, it's got obviously, I don't know how many pages in this. There's not that many pages actually. It's about 40 pages. Some of it's in colour, some of it's got lovely. It's very different from the modern ones. Modern ones now are just full of colour, tons and tons of pictures of trees, houses, all. It's full on Christmas. But there's somehow, I always think there's something slightly lacking in terms of that it's just relentless now. But these often had articles that were just sort of, just generally nice articles. This one, Christmas is something to celebrate, and you've got Padre writes his special message for Christmas. A lovely design there. And then you've got some additional letters page where you've got some beautiful, obviously, Dickens and God rest ye merry gentlemen, all those sort of things. Also, these sort of Christmas quiz for the family. So a beautiful tree stands in Trafalgar Square each Christmas. Which nation sends it to us? I don't know. They send it hopefully this year. Who knows? So you've got the tree there and all those sort of various pantomimes, obviously, this sort of things. We've made by an Act of Parliament, all but a strictly religious Christmas celebration. And also another thing, I think this is one of the things I like about these magazines, the stories. So you've got lovely, and obviously the brilliant artwork that went with them. Nowadays, of course, people they generally, some magazines that still persist with this sort of thing, but it's a pity it's not so common. But I just generally loved this artwork of this period. Certainly 1950s, 1960s were absolutely, and there's some lovely books out available, sort of big collections of all these sort of Women's Own, Women's Realm, where you can see all those paintings. And I just think they're just absolutely glorious pieces of artwork. This is handmade rugs. And then you've got also, I think, another thing that I love about these Christmas ones, and this one, it's got obviously some pictures here of various things. I have no idea, obviously a pineapple, sort of pineapple boat apparently costs about 10 shillings. Whew. That was a lot. 10 shillings. Approximate preparation time 20 minutes. 1 large pineapple. Any fresh fruit left over from Christmas. 3 glacé cherries. Why 10 shillings? But I suppose pineapples were expensive, I guess, back then. I mean, I don't know how. I haven't bought pineapple for ages, so maybe they're expensive now. I have no idea. Wow, I'm really shocked by that. Chicken stuffed tomatoes, quick cheese biscuits. That's more realistic price, 1 shilling and 10 pence. Chicken and ham loaf. Sounds very nice. Then you got holly berry red. You obviously got a lovely bit of knitwear there. Another story. So they had a lot of these stories, and again, lots of great artwork in this. Another one, a night visit from St Nicholas. So you've got that. And then lovely and warm, you've got all the various about keeping warm over Christmas. And another one, In Search of a Name, part 6 of our romantic serial. Just beautiful bit of artwork there. Trouble is, often, doesn't say who the artist was. It might do, can't see it, but there's a lovely bit of artwork there. So there's quite a lot of art in this. And then from the Holy Land, Cake of the Week, you've got Sponge Drops. Sounds very nice. And then another bit of knitwear. Lots of knitwear. Neat jacket is, I suppose, it's a good thing. Actually, today I was in one of the shops and those people buying lots and lots of knitwear. So obviously during this lockdown, which we're just starting, clearly everyone is going to be going for knitwear. And and it's got holidays here. This one, I love this in guineas as well. Costa Brava, 33.5 guineas. Venetian Riviera, 34.5 guineas. I love it, guineas. Oh, they're great, isn't it? Austria, 17.5 guineas. Grand Tour of France and Italy, 49.5 guineas. 49.5 guineas. It's not 50, 49.5. Great stuff. You can see all the places that obviously people went to. French Riviera, Italian Riviera, blah, blah, blah. So lots of French Riviera. Obviously, somehow it sort of sounds great. Actually, there's that great TV series, the Riviera one on Sky. Maybe you should watch that. Katina, obviously horoscopes, and then some cartoons by Scott, and all the way through Claire Shepherd. And then what's new for 1964? 2 smart outfits, and you've got lovely all this 1960s wear and things. Just great period. Just love the designs, clothes back then. Just think great. However, French liver and onions on the back. OXO. So you've got an OXO advert. I have to say that does not look very appealing. But anyway, I suppose it depends. I suppose it could be quite tasty. Though I don't know. People don't eat so much liver now. Liver's not so popular, I don't think. So interesting the way they've done the liver as well. However, back to the thing. Obviously, it's got lovely Christmassy feel. Love this magazine. I love Christmas Play. 1963, great year. And obviously the Beatles, etc. So actually, weirdly, this is the thing that always gets me when you go back with these things. Is quite often you think now 1963. You mentioned 1963. Most people probably think like the Beatles, obviously JFK, etc. Doctor Who, maybe. If you're a Doctor Who fan, you would think Doctor Who. However, when you actually go through this, I didn't see any mention of the Beatles. Like they didn't exist. And yet most people would think 60s, the Beatles. So strange, isn't it? How a period is defined. I actually got a book one time where it was actually 1963. It was like the complete history of 1963. It was about a 500-page book of 1963. Beatles got, in the music section, 2 lines. And you think, what? To me, that was the 60s. It was 1963, the Beatles. But clearly did not really impinge on historical events. Anyway, so that's a run through of Christmas magazine. Hope you found this obviously of interest. I'm going to be putting more Christmas magazines on as I pick up additional magazines.